Number 10 says solve the polynomial equation 3x to the fifth plus 6x to the fourth minus 72x to the third equals 0 by factoring. Sorry for the cough. The first thing you should do anytime you're asked to factor is see if there's any common factors. So looking at those, we got 3x to the fifth plus 6x to the fourth minus 72x. Well, I notice all those numbers are divisible by 3, so let's factor a 3 out of all those. Also, each of those we could factor out an x to the third. So we're going to factor out a 3x to the third from each of those. So when you're kind of like dividing that out. So 3x to the fifth, dividing out the 3x to the third, we're left with x squared. 6x to the fourth, when we divide out 3x to the third, we end up with plus 2x. And negative 72x to the third, when we divide that out by 3x to the third, we end up with just negative 24. All the x's cancel out. So we factored out the greatest common factor, which makes a whole group here a little more easy for us to factor. So leave that 3x to the third out front. The second group, the x squared plus 2x minus 24, we can factor that out into x plus or minus blank, x plus or minus blank. So remember, our two numbers that go here have to multiply to our c value, or multiply to negative 24, and add to our b value. So we're going to do plus 6 and minus 4. Again, those two numbers multiply to negative 24, but add to positive 2. So this whole thing is set equal to 0. Once we have it as factored as possible, we take a look at the individual pieces. So we've got three pieces. We've got 3x to the third, x plus 6, and x minus 4. We got to think of what x values make each of those pieces equal to 0. So what value of x is going to make 3x to the third equal to 0? That's x equals 0. Let me go back a second. If that's not clicking for you, you can always go back and set each piece equal to 0. So when we solve 3x to the third equals 0, you end up with x equals 0. The second group, we have x plus 6 equals 0. When we subtract 6 from both sides, we get x equals negative 6. And then x minus 4 equals 0. Add 4 to both sides. We get x equals 4. So we end up with 3 zeros. We got x equals 0, x equals negative 6, and x equals 4.